just to make sure that everybody is on the same page for this virtual meeting. So please make sure you can continue muting your computer. Make sure this is a positive space. Use the chat option whenever you have a statement or question. And also, please do not share your screen so you can see our special guest presenters and leaders. So thank you so much for being here. It's your monthly Cafecito con Lucilla, or Coffee with Lucilla, our Chief of Network 8. I have my coffee. I hope you have yours, or your tea or water. But it's always nice to share something during this meeting. So thank you. I'm your host, Maria Munoz. I am the FACE Family and Community Engagement Specialist. You'll see my email and phone number. Please make sure that if you, contact me, give me at least one day so I can get back to you with the information that you need or with the support that you need as well. So the purpose of this meeting is to ensure that we're reaching out to our Network 8 families and community members to provide resources and also to answer any questions, since we are returning to in-person learning this school year. We want to make sure that you're informed and that you're aware of everything that's going on in the district. The agenda for today, we're doing a roll call, so please make sure that you give us your name, the school that you're representing with us today. We want to know who is here in the house. So I know Socorro already added. She's from Solorio. So if everyone else, thank you, Yesenia Landa from Kelly College Prep. Thank you. We went over the purpose. We do have a continuation of our early childhood presentation. We're going to be giving you guys tools and interesting things to be doing during the winter break to entertain your children and to support other children in the community as well. We do have parent opportunities for the spring, also during the winter break, for everyone to be able to know about the resources that are out there, important dates to keep in mind, and also a Q&A session. This is the Cafecito team. It's me, your FACE specialist. We have Andrea Aguilera Villalobos, who is our amazing executive assistant. For Network 8, Francine Robinson, who is our family engagement coordinator. Erika Estrada, who is our early childhood specialist. And without further ado, I will invite Chief Lucilla. Thank you, Chief Lucilla, for always spending your monthly one day with us. I know you're super busy, so we're really, really excited for you to be here with us. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Maria, for being always a wonderful host, and as well as the Cafecito team being amazing as usual. As you know, I'm Lucilla Davila, the new Chief of Network 8, and I would like to introduce really quickly again Deputy Chief Fields, who's with us as well.
Hello, hola.
I'm so excited for the month of December. There's so much learning that we have done during this month, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But I would like to take the time as well to introduce you to some members, some new members that joined on Network 8. The first member that has joined Network 8 is Daniela Delgado. She's the Special Education Administrator, which we call C here at Network 8, who has been amazing as well and done a lot of learning walks with us. Then we also have Claudia Peralta, who is our new EL network specialist as well, who's done some learning walks as well and is amazing. Brings in that bilingual background and lens into our learning walks in our school and our network, and a huge advocate for our EL students. And then we also have Maria Ramirez, who is from College and Career Specialist, who has joined us as well in Network 8 and works very closely with us in our office. So these are the 3 team members that we have here today that are new to the network. Moving on to our vision. As you know, we are cultivating a sense of belonging for our students to flourish at Network 8. This is our new vision, as well as our new mission, which is a mission of Network 8 provides strategic supports to schools, builds equitable pathways, and honors language, culture, and identity in order to foster student success in a global society. So it's very important for us that everyone is included, everyone feels important, valued, and heard and seen, and that global component and the identity piece in the global society is very important for us here at Network 8, that all students are heard, seen, and represented in the curriculum in our network. So without further ado, I just, before going into really quickly into the early childhood piece, I would just want to have everyone know that we have done by today, the 15th, we have done 23 learning walks in Network 8 of the 24 schools that we have. So we have one school that we will finalize tomorrow, but we have had a wealth of experiences and knowledge and information of all the schools. We have seen lots of engagement from our students, our teachers, and a lot of hard work within the schools when it comes to students and their academics, but also the social emotionally skills and learning as well. So I will go into more detail at a little later time with that, but I just wanted to put in the space that we have had a wonderful time to be in the schools, get connected with the staff, the students, the community, and ensuring that we are doing what our mission and vision is guiding us to do. Without further ado, we are going to now go into the early childhood activities. We have Francine and Erika, who's going to ground us on a community event right now. So a community activity that we will be doing together.
Thank you, Chief Davila, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for having us. And we have an activity that we're going to be doing a little bit later, but we also have a community builder. We want you to take some time to think back a little bit when you were in school and as a child, what was your favorite book? If you could write that in the chat for us. So we want to know, when was the first time that you read it and why is it your favorite book? And so I am going to be asking Deputy Fields, which one of these two questions would you like to answer for us?
When was the first time that you read it and why is it your favorite book? I would say it was one of the, oh my God, it escapes me at this time, but it was definitely red fish, two fish, blue fish. Oh, help me. I do not remember the age or anything of that like that, but it was a very long time ago. And I just remember being exposed to it very early, like at the age of 2 or 3. I can remember, being around the books and always being exposed to the literature.
Thank you for that. And then we're also going to ask our chief if she could tell us her book, if she could tell us her book.
Well, I have a few books that I love and that are really dear to me, but Corduroy was always one that was very dear to me. Why? Because he was always sitting in that shelf, really sad, waiting for someone to pick him up, and everyone would pass him by until this little girl came and saw how brilliant he was and how great he was. And even though he had a missing button, he was wonderful. So, and I read that in second grade in Puerto Rico, and it always was a story that was dear to my heart. And I read it all the time when I was, when my children were young. I read it to my children as well, all the time as a bedtime story. So Corduroy is an amazing book for me.
Thank you. And thank you for those that are putting it in the chat. Next, the reason that we decided to do this activity and to ask, because even though we are adults and we have our own kids and some may have grandkids, we ourselves can think back and remember when we fell in love with books. And so we just want to remind you that that passion, it stays with our kids. So the earlier you introduce them to books, the love, it stays with them. There are also counting books, there are all sorts of books. And so the earlier we expose our kids, our little ones, to books, how to read it, how to go about holding it, it stays with them throughout a lifetime. Next slide, please. So thank you. What is the objective of this reunion today? Is to understand the importance of early literacy, know how to support our children with fundamental skills at home, and explore resources to implement a love for reading and math. Next. The power of preschool. early childhood education matters. Studies have shown that children who experience quality early learning programs, they are 25% more likely to graduate high school. They are 4 times more likely to have completed a bachelor's degree or higher, and earn up to 25% more in wages as adults. So right off the bat, we see the importance of early literacy and just introducing them to quality programs that will impact, preschool programs that will impact, that will set the foundation and that can be built upon. Next. So how to support the kids at home with literacy, you might be asking yourself. So reading to them, it is so very important. If you heard our deputy as well as our chief say that, they introduced the books to their kids, so they were introduced at an early age. And so reading it, some details have stayed with them. So we want to be able to read to our kids, to create a love of reading, storytelling, and developing literacy skills and concepts. Children independent reading time gives them the opportunity to select new books and books that are familiar to them. An example is label objects around the house, or have your babies to read pictures, create, or make books. These are things that they seem like they're not important, but they're so very important when we do them. Next, please. And then we can also support them not only with literacy, but also with math. And that is to interactive games or mini lessons to guide and support children's learning, new vocabulary. It teaches them about new vocabulary, math vocabulary, or literacy concepts. New skills can be introduced, supported, or expanded at different times. An example is to classify household objects. If you look at the picture on the left, it's one of those muffin pans and there are buttons in there, so they can be classified by the different size or the different colors, and you can begin to have conversations. Why are some bigger? Why are some smaller? What color is this? And those are activities that we can do, because we can also create patterns. We're teaching about patterns. This button has 3 holes, this button have 4 holes. So they're very different things that we can do. Also something that all of us do, or most of us do, and that's cook. So we can do ingredients with them while we're cooking. We can ask, I have to put 2 cups of water, or the recipe says this, or can you read me the picture of the recipe? And those are some things that we can do to introduce not only literacy concept, but also math concept to our babies. And I am going to pass it over now to my colleague, Erica.
Good morning. Additional activities that you can now engage now that we're going on break soon is there any activities that we can think of at home when we're doing laundry, right? Daily tasks. That's something that the children can easily participate in by sorting by sizes, sorting by color, talking about print on the clothing. Do they see letters? Do they see numbers? Like Francine had mentioned, patterns, right? Some of our clothing may have stripes, they may have other designs. And so there's so many opportunities in our daily activities that can also include the academics. And so thinking of something so simple as doing laundry can become a fun activity to do with your children. Another activity may be baking, maybe cooking, right? That recipe requires measurements. They require for us to talk about amounts. And so being able to talk about all the vocabulary that Francine kind of mentioned about which one has more, which one has less, and then become so excited and engaged to participate and to see what's the next step in the recipe. And so now we're talking about sequence. And then we can also talk about what would happen, right, if we add too much of something, right? And so having those opportunities to be able to engage with your children is a great opportunity coming these next 2 weeks. Experimenting, if we don't want to make a big mess, thinking about tubs that we can use. Is it possible activity we can do outside? So if it becomes messy, it's a quick cleanup. And so just thinking about different recipes that are coming up with the holidays too, right? With traditions. I'm thinking about the Play-Doh with adding ginger possibly to our Play-Doh. And so just brainstorming activities that we can do And I'm happy to share, like as a follow-up, if you all provide your email addresses, I'll be happy to share some addition of those recipes as well. And if you also see the picture on the right, we have like any containers we may have at home that are recyclables, right? That we can find purpose. I know a lot of times the tubes from our paper towels or toilet paper, those could easily be used to create a face, to maybe have them use their creativity and come up with ideas of what they want to do with that. And also bottles, right? That can be easily fill it up with water, maybe add some glitter, add some food coloring, and now it becomes more engaging and more fun for the children. And we can definitely talk about which bottle has more, which one has less. How come you think it has more? Right? And we're talking about volume now. And so there's just so many opportunities that we can take advantage during this time that we're going to be home with our children. If we are, right? If not, then even on the weekends, this is some opportunity that we can definitely be creative. And I'd love to hear any ideas that you may have that you've tried that you want to add to the chat. Please feel free to add them. Next slide, thank you. Okay, so now we want to talk about is items that you may have at home, right? Because we definitely don't want to ask you to go out and buy all these material. There's so many things we can use at home that can be useful. For example, we have this box here of crackers that is empty. And so thinking about, okay, when I have a box of cereal that's empty, a box of crackers that's empty, that could be an easy tool to cut up and use as a puzzle, for example, right? And so if we take our box of crackers and we cut it up, we can make it into a possible like puzzle, right? We cut it up into strips. And now the child is having to put it together, making up a word, for example, or making up the picture, right, that it was initially intended for. And if we want to use it for all the purposes, we can also add numbers to the bottom, right, of each piece. We can add the numbers, so that could be another way that they can put it together. And we can talk about like what else you notice about this image. They may notice like some objects are bigger, some are smaller. They may notice other things that we may not be thinking of. And so we can have that opportunity to ask those questions. Now, something that our office is putting together is activities that we would love to share with you if you're interested. We know that we have different age groups, right? Parents that may have high schoolers, middle schoolers, preschoolers. And so thinking about who is interested, we would love to put together some packets for you where we have numbers here, we have the lines, and so we can cut them up like right here. You can see these are cut up, and so what you can do is have your child sort them, right, and be able to organize it into an image that they're going to put together. And so towards the end, we're going to ask that you fill out a survey and you let us know. For those who are interested, we do want to put together packets that you may be able to use during these 2 weeks that you're home with your children. Oh, I'm sorry. I did want to say that other items you may want to use is like, as you're cooking, we have cans, right, that have different labels, different labels in our cans that you can use as a game, right? Say, what letters do you see there? And so I know that in a previous meeting, one of our participants did share that that's how they began to read, by looking at labels and cans and being able to talk about it, like either with their parents or their sibling, and saying like, oh, what sounds do you hear? What does that say? And so that's another opportunity that we can definitely use those home products that we have at home to be able to take advantage and help our children to learn how to read or learn how to identify letters. That's another possibility. Pasta containers, anything that you may find at home that may seem that it's done, like we're ready to recycle, may be a possibility to use that as a way to focus on academics and letters and numbers. And now we have here some digital tools we want to share with you. We have our Chicago Public Library, right? library.cps.edu. That's a great resource to visit. You're able to also connect with some books that are storybooks online. Some are audio, some are actual virtual, and some we may be able to check out from the library. And so this is a great place to visit. Epic is another great one. And we do have some resources in Spanish as well. Colorín Colorado is a great resource for parents to be able to get ideas of how to support children in different topics that you may be interested in, math or literacy or other activities that may be about maybe within our community or our area. That's a great resource to visit, and it's great geared for parents. And Starfall's another great one, along with PBS Preschool and ABC Mouse. And I'm sure that there's other resources that you probably are aware of that I'd love to hear them if you want to add into the chat. And other parents can definitely also pick those up and use them during these next 2 weeks. And now we're going to ask if you have any questions. Francine and I are both here. We're happy to answer any of your questions.
Or people can raise their hands too. That's a nice way to visually see who has a question. In the meantime, I would just say, Erika and Francine, thank you. Thank you so much. What a wonderful opportunity this is to ensure that during the 2 weeks that we have now for winter break, that our parents are engaging students and learning still, but in a fun way with found objects from home. So nothing that you have to go out and purchase, as stated here. From a magazine, there's lots of rich information in magazines, from the letter recognitions, color recognitions, capital letters, lowercase letters, all of those things, putting that in alphabetical order, or taking a magazine and a picture of a magazine, cutting it in strips as Erika and Francine has shown, and doing a puzzle piece to sort it in order. The same thing with dried beans and chocolate chips when you're baking, or pasta when you're cooking, that you can sort those into different categories, or just through accounting of numeracy. So there's, as you can see, there's so many different unlimited ideas that can be done at home to embrace and to educate and continue educating our children at home through the literacy component and the maths components as well. I'm checking right now to see if there's any other questions or comments, but I don't see any. Is that accurate, Maria? Or
yeah, no, there was a question regarding like high schoolers, and I know for sure khanacademy.org for Brandy, who's asking. There's so many resources there for every grade level that you can also use for practice at home. There's algebra, trig, geometry, English for high schoolers, and so on. So check that out. It's a free resource too. And I know Megan is adding another one as well, ucube.org. Thank you, Megan.
Perfect.
If there are any other questions, we can move on. I know there's a question regarding like a policy, but we can answer that at the end as well. And I know Tanya, our deputy chief, is also trying to answer that question. So thank you, deputy. So we'll continue with some important dates. This Friday is your last day before winter break. There's also going to be progress reports sent out. Check your Aspen as well, the report for your kids, just to see where they're at, right? To see if that conversation that you had back in November 17 was, well-rounded. Are you getting benefits from that conversation with the teachers? And is your student, successfully advancing as well? If not, then try to come up with a plan so when we come back in January, we can touch base with our teachers again and see how we can support those students, right? December 20th to December 31st is our winter break. I hope everyone stays safe, are able to celebrate in a very safety and family-oriented way, so we can come back on January 3rd and have our students back in our classrooms after winter break. Some parent university updates. We are going to start our GED and ESL classes in January 17th to be exact. And then our construction skills certification live webinar will be on February 8th. I'll definitely push that more in January so everybody is aware of those starting dates. Please make sure to add your name on our Remind app. As you can see, you can join the text messaging to know everything that's happening with our parent university on remind.com/join/N8ParentU1. Some resources from our community. There's going to be a couple of toy drives happening, and I'll share those information on the chat as well so you could see it. But at Carnitas Don Rafa on December 18th and during the morning from 12 to 3, there's going to be distribution by Brighton Park Neighborhood Council. So if you're there, make sure you take your child, make sure you're there on time so your child is able to get a gift. Another place is New Life Centers, who's located at 4155 South Rockwell Street, that it's also happening on December 20th. I'll share those dates and times and address on the chat so you're able to copy it. If you know of anyone who's in need or if your family members are in need, please make sure to stop by at those locations. There's another place as well in Englewood, and I think that's on the next slide. So this is a Winterfest celebration as well. There's going to be food, there's going to be a toy drive, and it's happening on December 18 in the afternoon. Let me just copy that as well and share it so everybody has this information and you're able to participate in those events, either in one of them, if you can or able to, or if you need to. And then our next one. Resources. So since we're going to be out for 2 weeks, there's going to be a couple of schools who are going to be open distributing food. And that will be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. only on Monday through Wednesdays. So as you can see the dates, it's going to be December 20th, 21st, 22nd, then 27, 28, 29 at Burroughs. And you'll see the location, which is 3542 South Washtenaw. And then Hemline at 4747 South Bishop. If there's any other places that you need to go and check out, please make sure to look up Chicago Food Depository sites. The link is very helpful. It will give you the different sites near you if you put your zip code, and you'll find the sites. And many of the times are churches or religion places or even public spaces like the public library where you can find food there as well. Vaccination sites. I know this is the 1 week here that CPS is distributing. So tomorrow on Thursday, it will be in Michelle Clark. Right now it's happening at Theodore Roosevelt. And then on Friday at Richards High School, which is the one in our network area. And you'll be able to do a walk-in from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's this week. But please, during the winter break, check in with your local clinics. I'm sure they'll have the Pfizer vaccine for children 5 and up. There's places like Esperanza Health Center, Alivio Center, Christian Center, where you can look it up and be able to go and get vaccinated during those 2 weeks. You know, if either you need the booster or if you need to get your child a vaccine. Please, as always, make sure to fill out our survey. We want to know and hear from you. We want to make sure that our meetings are fruitful, that you're able to get all the information that you need, that you're able to get those questions answered, and that you know that we're here for you. So I will share that link as well on the chat. Please fill it out and let us know. It's 3 simple questions. We want to make sure that we're here for you. Next cafecito will be Wednesday, January 26th. Make sure you write it down, save it, invite other people so they know what's happening in our Network 8 area schools and in the district as well. Follow us on our different social media pages. We are on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You will be able to share this YouTube video that we're recording it so they can later be on YouTube, and later you can share it as a YouTube video, right? So if any of your friends or parents want to listen to this conversation, you're able to do that. You'll be able to share it and listen to all the resources that we've been sharing today. And that is it for me. Lucilla, do you want any well wishes for our parents?
Of course, yes. Thank you, Maria, as usual. Wonderful hosting as well today. So thank you so much. At this point in time, I just want to reiterate that it's very important that our children get vaccinated and take the opportunity over the holidays to do so. I know when we're coming back into the school setting after 2 weeks, it's going to be vital because, you know, everyone visiting families and so forth, and that social component that the holidays bring. It's important that our students and children are getting vaccinated. So right now at Network 8, there has been some schools that have been, you know, having to or flip some classrooms or send some students home because of being ill and sick. And the more students that were vaccinated, the better it is, just because then it keeps everyone healthy and safe within the school community. And as for what Maria mentioned about the areas where we're going to have food deliveries and areas of distribution for food, please, you know, Burroughs, Hamline are two of our schools. Those are areas that are very close to the central of Network 8. So please make sure that if there is any opportunity that you are needing to go into a food distribution center, the schools are there for that. And we're here to make sure that everyone is having what they're needing within the basic needs. But to wrap it up, I want to wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful winter break. I know sometimes